Playback.
Welcome to A Social Place, a new podcast from Amalite Studios and Emil Nava, which is me. I personally have been in the music video business crazily for over 15 years. I started when I was 17. I wanted to bring together people that are around me that I think are amazing and have so much to say and want to create a space where we can come on and talk about all things creative. Welcome to A Social Place. Today on The Social Place, we have Cody Fusina. Cody is an art director, set designer. And for those of you who don't know what that is, he's the guy that creates all of the sets and the worlds that you see in my music videos or other music videos you like. He's a key part of the team because when we come up with ideas and we want to create these huge sets, he's the one that actually has to visualize it and bring it to life. So I wanted to bring Cody on to just have a conversation about his journey and how he did it, you know, from starting at the bottom, coming out of community college to now working with the likes of Drake and Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber and all these amazing artists. He really is such an amazing talent, and I'm so glad that he's coming on to have this conversation with me, and I hope you get something out of it as much as I did. Cody, welcome.
Let's go.
Just great to have you on, Cody. I think that there's a lot of people who want to know how to get into it and how do you get into it, and then also how do you kind of stay into it. Maybe you could give us a little backstory, how did you get into it?
How I started, okay, yeah. This is a nice story. This is my favorite. It means a lot to me, this, the opportunity that I got to follow this, dream. It was, my first year in community college, and I knew I wanted to do design. So I was studying interior design, doing stuff for, different interiors and putting, taking classes for that, color theory and all that stuff that I thought would, help me navigate through my interior design, career. And during that process, I was trying to find internships and trying to figure out ways that I can actually get my hands on a couple jobs and do stuff, decorate. Those doors weren't really opening right away. So I looked into a few more ways, what else design-wise that I can get in, a foot in the door or see, an opportunity that I can at least try to put some of these skills that I think I have, to work and see if it's really something that I should, follow. And that's when I started doing homework and realizing that, film industry has essentially set decorators and, all this art direction, which is pretty much hand in hand with interior design,
Yeah, and I guess for people that don't know as well, right, it's there's a lot of different roles within that department, isn't there? There's the set designer, the art director, the prop master, the carpenters,
the greensmen.
The greensmen,
it goes deep,
I
mean? It's a wide variety of different professionals that come together to make the art department. Mm-hmm. But when I was first starting, I had kind of a passion for decorating and bringing a world to life kind of lane that I wanted to stay in. And so, I started sending emails. I was maybe 19 years old, and I was sending emails I went on IMDb and found all the best production designers. I was super eager, super hungry, didn't really have anything to lose. I was just paying for community college by myself, going to a couple classes here and there, trying to figure it out. And finally, some of those emails started, kind of landing. And one landed with a production designer, Benji Bamps. Mm-hmm. He was a goat in the game, too, in the music video game. A lot of big videos with, Britney Spears, and he was doing all those massive,
the big ones.
Big ones.
Back when they were big.
Massive. And, I sent him a bunch of emails, and I know he's, now where I'm at, I can understand, because I get a lot of emails, too. None of those emails really landed because I was sending them straight to him, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized, that he probably was not ever going to be able to respond to me.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, what else can I do? And I started looking at his crew. And I saw he had a coordinator, so I started emailing her.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I'm hitting her
Clever.
up. I know.
Everyone listening, this
is my favorite. Yeah,
this is how you got to do it.
No, 100%. I wasn't going to take really any, not no for an answer, but I was just going to do my best. Find a way, whatever it takes.
100%.
And so I hit her up a bunch of times, his coordinator, email, and still didn't get really any response. I can understand that,
they're busy. It's crazy. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like when this more than because I think I get little breaks, as a director because I'm pitching and blah, blah, blah. I feel like for someone like you, it's like it's just the next shoot. The prep is happening at the same time. You're striking out one set while you're building another, multiple teams.
Yep, wrapping it out.
And I feel it's always nerve-wracking for like a coordinator to bring on someone new in a stressful situation, and then they don't deliver, and then suddenly, if the team's not right, as we know, it can all fall apart.
Yeah, it takes every single person on the art department, literally down to the driver, the PA that's in the truck with the driver.
Yeah.
That's, helping load the truck and button everything up to make sure that, we get everything to set on time.
100%.
Be super efficient with everything. I can't do it without my team, honestly. And some of those challenges are the best. That's like part of like what we do too, is like when things change, which it always does, and there's always inspiration from one thing that you see, or if you're so creative, when you see something, you're like, okay, we got to do this,
and then things like location changes or just I feel like I say this all the time. It's like filmmaking, I just feel is like compromise the whole time. You're constantly compromising, but then trying to make the the out of that compromise.
Exactly.
But sorry, go on.
Yeah. No. So
I love it. You're hitting up the supervisor.
I'm hitting up the coordinators. I'm hitting up, not getting any responses. And then, so I kept going. I saw the crew and I was like, okay, like who's on this crew? And I started hitting up just the set dressers, the lead men. And one of my emails to the lead man, who was like apparently the truck driver for this production designer, landed in my email. I wrote free labor, like I'll come out just to learn. If you need an extra person in the truck, I'll help strap stuff up, whatever it takes. And he was like, sure, like I'll take a free hand. Like he didn't even have to clear it from the production designer. He's just like, okay, I have an intern with me, like him as the truck driver, right? And so that was my first in with this production designer, Benji, who I still haven't met, haven't corresponded with, but the truck driver, he shout out to him, Juan Abson. If he, you know what I mean? Shout out him, because he brought me out, and he was an OG in the game. He had been in the game for a while, and no nonsense, like be on time, blah blah blah. Like, so I was like, okay, cool, this is a great opportunity. And I remember my first day on set was Nicki Minaj Super Bass. Like I met at I want to say it was like Avon Truck Rentals, like the classic, truck rental in Hollywood for studios. Got in this truck with super, kind of intimidated, like, oh, I don't want to mess this up. Like, I want to do good. But so we hit a couple prop houses. I'm strapping stuff up, doing some stuff. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to set. I still didn't know it was Nicki Minaj. And we showed up to Coyote Studios.
Yeah.
Big studio, huge, massive music video. We had like 3 sound stages. I'm like a deer in headlights. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, everything just boom hit me right there. Like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do this. Like, this is the perfect blend of like, the design, that inspiration that I had, and like the desire to really want to be like an artist in like interiors and decorating and bringing environments to life, and this like exciting, world of like, creating and collaborating and all that. So got on set, did this thing with Nicki Minaj, beautiful day, super impactful for me, like personally, just being there and like doing very minuscule stuff, spray painting stuff and moving stuff, but kind of like looking around and seeing all these, seeing the director, seeing all these things, and like just being like, wow, this is an incredible opportunity for a career. And from that moment on, I like wasn't gonna let it slip through my fingers. Like, I remember I went up to the coordinator, introduced myself. She was gonna introduce me to the production designer. I still hadn't met him. It was a big art crew.
Who knows where he is? There's not 300 people.
I'm not gonna go up to him and be like, hey, I'm an intern. He didn't even probably know I was there, honestly. But I introduced myself to the coordinator, and I pretty much said like, hey, I'm here as an intern with the truck driver, but like I want to be on the art team. I really want to like learn, and anything I can do, free labor, like I just want to learn and be a part of the team and kind of be an asset. So like, do you have anything tomorrow? And they're like, well, if you're in the truck today, why don't you hop in the truck tomorrow? I was like, cool, I'm there. So I was there. Then it was the next day. Like, he was a really busy production designer, just like how we just spoke. Like, it's usually one job to the next, to the next, to the next.
I remember, like, why I love this conversation is because I just believe so much that, like, when you start at the bottom and you experience a set from the very bottom, and that, like, it's fucking hard, isn't it? It's like, it's grueling hours, it's gnarly work, it's labor. It's like, I remember, like, when I was first starting, we had to start 5 a.m. on this railway track in like out at the side of London or whatever for this big band Westlife, and they were like, to all of us PAs, they were like, you got to walk up that train track for half a mile, find these sleepers that they had found, like, you know, the wood, and carry them back and put them in the set. So at 5 a.m, me and these like 4 kids are like fucking lugging railway sleepers. You know, it's like, for people that maybe don't even realise it, like, again, there's crazy hard work. I remember we did a video for Jessie J, and we had to create this like a desert in a studio. And when we wrapped, I remember looking at all the PAs shoveling like probably, you know, 3 tons of sand out of the studio, you know, all on, like, literally like shoveling, you know. And I always had this one story where we had this rain machine in this huge, it was a place called the Camden Roundhouse, a really famous, like, massive place in London. And she was like in the, you know, it was years ago where they did this big rain machine, and the crew wrapped 1 a.m. and we all had to stay and hoover up the water, like just hoovering water till 4 a.m. I was like, wow, this is music videos. This is like, and then the video comes out and everyone's like, whoa, the video. And I was like, I was there sweeping up the water.
Exactly.
Go on. So yeah. So then she says, come back the next day.
Yeah, come back the next day. And the next day is, you know, it's another job, you know, another big one. I want to say it was a Britney Spears one. We were at like Universal backlot.
Wow.
What I remember vividly about that was I still haven't met the production designer yet. So like I'm just like showing up, trying to like really be, you know, like
had you
an
even
asset.
seen like could you see what was going on, or was it like closed set?
Oh, I was able to see everything.
Yeah,
I was doing stuff. I was like
hopping
in the truck, going, painting this, moving that, running this over here.
Yes,
just like,
you're right in it.
Just like, you know, I don't even know. At this point, they probably hardly even knew my name. You know what I mean? They're just like, Cody, right? Yeah, go.
Yeah,
you know, go. And I'm loving it. And I remember, being on set with like this Britney Spears job, and we had all these picture cars. I want to say it's probably like 40 picture cars in the back lot at Universal. And we just needed to do a lot of stuff on that job. And I remember we were a little shorthanded with how much we had to do. So I had a little bit more responsibility, right? So it was like just this little bit more, from truck to then like, okay, being on set.
Clean
and then,
the windscreen of the car. Like...
like a little bit more. And like that gave me a lot of motivation. And after that job, I was able to meet Benji, the production designer, and introduce myself and let him know, you know, like just straight up, like, this is what I want to do. I want to be an art director. I'm loving being here. Like, I'm an asset to your team in any way that you need me. If you don't, you don't. But, you know, as of right now, I just want experience. And if you need me tomorrow, wherever it needs to be, I'll be there, you know, kind of as an intern. And I think he was really, like, impressed by that. And, like, he said, yeah, all right, well, why don't you, you know, you did a really good job on this job. Why don't you meet me tomorrow? And it was just like, from that day, I met him, and I ended up being kind of his assistant.
I think that so much of this industry is about getting the chance, but actually people talk just about getting the chance, but I think it's like, once you get the chance, you got to deliver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I actually feel that there's not a lot of chances, but you can find the chances.
Yeah.
But can you step into that? If the door's open, can you step into it and go like, I'm here for it?
Yeah. And that's like, I think that's like one of like the most like proud things like that I like, I'm proud of like my path, is that when I got that opportunity, I like really dedicated myself to it. Like, I was there the next day. I want to say like 3 months went by where I was like maybe getting like 2 days off a week, just literally 6 a.m. showing up at his house, you know, hopping in his car with him, going to the set, going to meetings, taking notes. So all of a sudden, this little truck PA internship turned into literally shadowing a production designer. And he gave me a lot of opportunity, and he was working so much that like we ended up creating a bond, and you know, I started, you know, knowing the team, and they started seeing like, oh, okay, you know, he's kind of our intern. So like everybody was like, okay, I like having him on part of the team. And one thing led to another. We worked together for like 3-4 months, and then it was like, okay, Cody, he saw that I was actually had some taste for like decorating too. He would go step in a meeting, send me to Beverly Hills to go look at like the furniture stores, like the high-end furniture, and start pulling stuff. It's kind of testing me. And I think I, impressed him a little bit with some like taste and style that I was bringing to the table. And he was just started to be like, okay, let's throw some more stuff his way. And one thing led to another. I was his set decorator, pretty quick. Still, not really, just more focused on the opportunity, not so much, like
the position.
Mm-hmm. And he was putting me in that position because, I think he realized that like, I could be an asset to the team. And, it went from set decorating to then, okay, I need you as lead man for this job, or okay, I need you at my house to, pick me up and drive me to the next, studio meeting, or I was doing everything. And one thing led to another, and next thing you know, he's doing these big union projects for like Justified, American Horror Story. He did Sons of Anarchy. He pretty much had FX like, the whole contract. Every FX big show at that time. American Horror Story was incredible. The first season of that was like next level production design. And, he's doing these big jobs, but he's still getting, these really great music videos that are calling him and saying like, hey, we want you. He has, clients, he has directors that he doesn't want to, leave in the dust. So he started putting me as his like art director on the non-union music videos.
Right.
So he was the production designer, but he wouldn't even have to really show up. He'd be able to just be like, we'd have a meeting in the morning at his house. He'd show me all the boards. He'd have me do a breakdown, and then he would, talk to the director, put us on a group chat together, and I would run like a whole non-union music video at like 20 years old. Not even like hardly on the call sheet. Like he was the production designer, and I was just there, and they were like talking to me to talk to him, and kind of facilitate the whole project.
Sure.
So those opportunities were, like, incredible. I couldn't thank him enough.
Yeah.
So I was just running with that. And
what was like the first thing that you were leading on that you were like, wow, this is...
It was a commercial. I want to say like a Geico spot. It was a commercial. So it was like high level, all the execs, the big, client, that whole vibe, big team. And I just remember being on set, and I had such a strong team, like, decorating, wrapping, presenting stuff to me to present to the director. And I was like, I can really do this. Like, they were looking at me like, okay, he can lead us, knowing that Benji, my designer, was, really the head of the whole process. So they trusted him, but they knew that I was dedicated enough. They had seen me for 4 months, just driving the truck, showing up early. Those first 6 months, I was always the first one there. Like, and it was tough because you're leaving your family, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You're young, when you're, like, I remember that was the hardest part, is being away from my family so much and like dedicating myself to this. But it ended up just leading to those bigger opportunities. He trusted me more, and I became pretty much his art director and was doing these projects with him. And
I love it.
It was just like a beautiful...
The success story.
Yeah.
How did we meet?
I remember we did a couple projects early. I want to say our first project was... I want to say it was the Charlie Puth job.
But how did we get connected?
I think I had been hitting you up, like the same kind of vibe. Like, I think I had reached out a couple times and was just like, if
maybe
you need
it was
a production
on
designer,
Instagram and stuff. Yeah.
I kind of kept that whole like that vibe of like just reaching out and offering.
I think it was probably something like, I'm quite conscious of how to start relationships with creators, like other creatives, because I think that like, you always want to try and find something small to like look to like see if you work out, see if you like align,
Yeah.
So I feel like it was probably something, and then Charlie. So it was Charlie Puth Attention in that house, right?
Yeah, I think I want to say that was the first one,
really?
And that was like for me, like
that was stressful. That one.
That was a big one, and I remember like I had done a lot of jobs by then, and I had really seen a lot of your work, and I was like, okay, I gotta link with Emil, like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was just it was Amalite. It was straight off. And I think that was our first one.
Can you remember a lot of the jobs? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, go on. Like, just give us a quick, like, the rundown of the jobs. What have we done together?
Charlie Puth, a couple of those. We did the Weekend one.
Yeah.
A lot of Calvin Harris stuff. Those projects mean the most to me, I have to say.
Yeah.
when we did, those early Calvin from Funk Wave Bounces 1.
Yeah.
And you gave me so much respect and so much trust and love to do those projects. And then in turn, you supported me to help Calvin and you and the team do those album release parties. Oh my God,
the party, yeah. You realized all the music videos from the Funk Waves at the party.
At the party.
And then you even helped create like the artwork for the Tom Grennan record.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like we're getting to create stuff across the gamut.
Those projects mean so much to me.
They're still talk
to, oh my God, me and my wife still talk about that, about what a, amazing time that was. I just remember just like
a lot of celebrations that I feel like it was like they were such great parties because you could really celebrate what we made. Because sometimes I feel like you just don't get the chance to do that, do you?
No.
How do you go about like choosing a project?
What motivates me the most is the director. Obviously the creative is like big. It's something that I always want to, put first. But I think the director is really, what drives me to want to like do those projects, because we get a lot of, calls, and there's all sorts of people, that are reaching out to us. But when, I can always tell when you're like working with a director that has the same kind of ambition and same vision and like, the goals of like creating, iconic pieces. Sure. I think that's what motivates me the most.
I think what you're great at as well, and this is something for maybe people getting into the industry to know as well, is that I feel like you've always been available for us. We respect that so much. So we know it, right? We know that like if we call Cody, he's going to rally the team and they're going to fucking get it done.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the director really is because those relationships are like the most important.
Key. Yeah.
It's key. It's like the trust, the wanting to do the best I can for you, and knowing what, knowing you like on a personal level, like I think, and then the trust that you have for me in turn.
Exactly.
Really.
And all that you're saying is the same I have with like a Calvin, right? Like I want to always be available for him. I want him to know that if he needs something, I'm there. I always think that like you can say to someone, let's get a wallpaper. There's 1,000 wallpapers, right? So it's like trying to find that synergy where you understand each other creatively is hard.
Yeah. We work with a ton of different people, but like there's just a handful of people that I'm able to create that like really tight bond with, that we can go into these projects having each other's back and like really caring about each other, and wanting to do the best and like go above and beyond to like whatever it can be, like deliver. Knowing you, knowing your family and the company, and like 100%. I think that has a lot of drive for like when I'm a part of a project.
And that's actually a good segue into the next question, because we talk a lot about like, body and mind and like how you stay, kind of sane in this game, right? Like, because it is tough. Like on set, like when it's stress, like how do you best like manage stress and cope with stress on set?
When it comes to like if things get tough on set, it's mostly just breathing techniques, that kind of like stuff I've been implementing a lot. Breath work,
100%.
I have to say is one of like the best ways to do it. Just taking a second, because we're always prepared. Like we're always going into a project, whenever we're on set, I'm always prepared to the max. Like I always give my most effort in those pre-pro days so that when we're on set, we have everything at our disposal. That doesn't mean that things don't come up where it gets stressful 100%. If something breaks or if a delivery's late. When you have that mindset of like, trying to stay positive and keeping a good outlook and trying to problem solve, it always ends up working out.
Trying to create a strong mind, strong well-being is so helpful, because it does reach peak point on set, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I remember times early in my career, because I took it so seriously, and how I knew every opportunity could be the last. Everyone needs to be perfect. That I remember waking up in like the morning, like no lie, like feeling like stage nausea, where it's like that, like I feel like I'm gonna almost throw up, like, because I'm so nervous. I want it to go right. I need it to be perfect. I think it's a testament to like our growth that like we've been able to keep that level of quality that we do in our visuals and in our work. What you do, and also be able to like set aside that time for us personally. There's no way to do it if you're not balancing it out.
100%.
You know what I mean?
What a great ending.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cody Fusina. That was an amazing conversation. Cody. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I would love to see if you can put yourself out of your comfort zone and reach out to some people via DM or email. Ultimately, who do you look up to and who do you want to work with? And maybe look at their teams like Cody did. Find their assistant or their production manager or whatever it is and kind of reach out to them. See if you can kind of get yourself in the team, but from the bottom working your way up. And DM me on A Social Places Instagram. Let me know how it went.
It's a social place, oh yeah, it's a social place.